In the 14th century Thar desert, the geography dictated the life of its people. In the pastoral settlement of Malir, a village girl named Marvi lived a life tied to the seasons and the arid soil, betrothed to a local shepherd. Her world stood in sharp contrast to that of Umar Soomro. From the massive stone ramparts of Umerkot Fort, Umar ruled the kingdom of Umerkot with absolute authority, anchoring his power in one of the region's most formidable strongholds. When rumors of Marvi's piety reached the fort, Umar rode into the desert disguised as a traveler. He approached Marvi at her well, asking for water. As she reached for her pitcher, he seized her and forced her onto his camel. In this era, a peasant taken by a monarch typically vanished from the record. Their individual history was rewritten or simply erased by the court, leaving them as a footnote in the king's biography. Umar brought Marvi behind the walls of Umerkot Fort. For a nomad used to the open horizon of the desert, these stone walls were designed to be an inescapable prison. Umar offered Marvi a path out of her cell through material submission. He presented her with fine silks, heavy gold jewelry, and the title of reigning queen, assuming her poverty would make the choice inevitable. Marvi refused every offer. She stopped washing, she rejected the royal banquets, and insisted on wearing the coarse, homespun clothes of her village, which grew increasingly tattered and soiled as the months passed. Umar eventually turned to psychological pressure. He told Marvi that her kin in Malir had made no effort to find her, suggesting that after a year in the fort, she had been forgotten by those she longed for. Marvi was a prisoner who had been offered a kingdom, yet she chose the squalor of a cell. This refusal suggests that her resistance was about something more specific than a romantic preference. In the 18th century, the Sufi master and poet Shah Abdul Latif Bhittai revisited this story. Bhittai codified the oral folktale into his masterwork, the Shah Jo Risalo, positioning Marvi among the 7 queens of Sindh. Bhittai structured the narrative as a spiritual allegory. He used the physical details of Marvi's imprisonment to illustrate a specific philosophical struggle. Bhittai writes, "The Marvi's betrothal threads are like gold to me. O Umar, do not offer silken cloths to this nomad girl." These verses frame her refusal as identity. Blessed is the thread of the blanket. Her loyalty is to her origin. By viewing the kidnapping through Bhittai's philosophical lens, the physical prison begins to mirror a much broader human condition. In this framework, Umerkot Fort represents the temporary material world. Malir, the desert, stands for the divine source. King Umar is the ego, driven by material hunger. Marvi represents the soul, trapped within that hunger, but refusing to be consumed by it. King Umar eventually realized that while he held total physical control, Marvi's internal resolve had not shifted. Despite his power, his influence ended at the door of her cell. He chose a rare path of royal restraint. Umar learned they were raised by the same wet nurse, making them foster siblings. He asked for her forgiveness and allowed her to return home. The soul regains its freedom by withstanding material temptation. Refusing to value the king's wealth, she rendered his weapons ineffective. Marvi returned to Malir, but her village did not immediately welcome her. After a year in a king's palace, her own people, including her betrothed, suspected that she had compromised her character. To answer the doubts of her community, Marvi volunteered to undergo a public physical trial. During the trial by fire, Marvi was required to hold a red-hot iron rod in her bare hands. She emerged without a single burn. King Umar also submitted to the trial to prove his own restraint, finally clearing Marvi's name and allowing her to rejoin her village. Marvi had to prove her character twice. She first withstood the pressure of a tyrant, and then she faced the scrutiny of her own neighbors to regain her place in the world. Today, Umerkot Fort and Marvi's Well remain as physical landmarks in Sindh. In modern South Asian culture, Marvi serves as a reference point for indigenous loyalty and the rejection of material wealth. This story stands as a historical anomaly, a landless peasant who achieved a victory over a monarch without ever using force. Umerkot Fort eventually fell into ruin, but the story of the girl who refused its gold remains. It suggests that power does not live in stone walls, but in knowing exactly who you are.